very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1, brought to you live from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news this evening, I am Steven Machado.
And I'm Monal Kamaritunga. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Court told Suresh Salley misled investigators. Passport claims come under scrutiny. Cabinet approves proposal to extend judges' retirement age by 2 years. Draft legislation to be referred to legal draftsmen. Colombo hosts Sangha convention revealed at opposition leaders meeting convened following Namal's written request. Gammanpilla urges lawyers to attend Bar Association meeting tomorrow.
On to those stories in detail. Former State Intelligence Service Chief Suresh Salley did not come before court with a clean hands, and therefore his writ petition should be dismissed without even issuing a notice. Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herath told the Court of Appeal today.
Now, Salley filed the petition challenging the move to arrest and detain him in connection with the ongoing investigations into the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks. The petition is being heard before a bench comprising Court of Appeal Presidents Justice Ruhanta Abesurya and Justice Priyantha Fernando.
Responding to submissions made by lawyers appearing for Suresh Salley, who argued that Criminal Investigation Department Director Shania Besekar should be removed from the investigation, Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herath addressed the court.
My lords, this petition was first taken up on the 7th of May. On that occasion, the petitioner relied on statements made by Asad Maulana. Thereafter, when the petition was taken up on the 4th of June, submissions were made alleging that the petitioner had been subjected to torture while in the custody of investigators. When the matter was taken up on the 10th of June, the petitioner stated that investigators from the United States FBI had come to Sri Lanka to investigate the Easter Sunday attacks and had subsequently filed cases in the United States against Mohammed Naufar and others. The petitioner further stated that an FBI investigator had submitted an affidavit to court and that the affidavit confirmed Zahran Hashim as the mastermind behind the Easter attacks. When the petition was taken up on the 11th of June, the petitioner referred to 5 reports, including the Janki Dialvis report, the Malalgoda Committee report and the Imam Commission report, and argued that Shania Besekar could not conduct investigations because certain commission reports contained adverse observations concerning him. Over 7 days, the petitioner's primary argument was that this investigation should not, under any circumstances, be conducted by CID Director Shani Abesekar. 2 other suspects connected to this investigation are currently being held on remand. Investigations into them are also being conducted under the supervision of the director of the CID. Therefore, there is absolutely no basis for removing this investigation from the CID director as requested by the petitioner. The petitioner has alleged that Shania Besekar harbors personal animosity towards him. He had also requested the magistrate's court to remove Shania Besekar from the investigation. That request was rejected. The original complaint in this matter was lodged by Reverend Father Rohan Silva with the Ministry of Public Security. The Secretary to the Ministry subsequently forwarded the complaint to the Inspector General of Police, who then referred it to the Criminal Investigation Department for further investigation. The first B report relating to this investigation was filed on the 11th of November 2024. At that time, Shania Besekar was not serving in the CID and was not even in active police service. Furthermore, on the 15th of November 2024, the CID obtained overseas travel bans against Suresh Salley and Pillan. Those orders were not obtained by Shania Besekar. The CID director at the time was Mangala Dehedenia. Investigations were also conducted under another director, Himesha Muthumali. This is a serious investigation. If the CID is not to investigate it, should it be handled by the PETA police?
Meanwhile, court was also told today that Suresh Salley had allegedly made statements intended to mislead investigations. Court.
My lords, the petitioner had stated that he left for India on the 3rd of January 2019 to attend a defence course and returned only in December of that year. Copies of both his diplomatic passport and official passport have been submitted to court together with this petition. During questioning by the CID regarding his travel documents, the petitioner stated that after returning from his posting at the Sri Lankan High Commission in Malaysia, he had handed over his diplomatic passport to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, he had produced a certified copy of that same diplomatic passport. If the passport had in fact been handed over to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, how was he able to produce a certified copy of it before court? A passport consists of 64 pages. Yet, only 17 or 18 selected pages from the diplomatic passport have been submitted to court. Only 4 pages from the official passport have been submitted. On page 56 of the official passport, several immigration stamps can be seen. There is a departure stamp from Indian Immigration dated 18th May 2019. There is also an entry stamp from Indian Immigration in June 2019. The petitioner informed court that after travelling to India for the defence course, he never left India. However, these stamps clearly show that he departed India during that period, my lords.
Unquote. Counsel appearing for Suresh Salley then attempted to produce the diplomatic passport before court. Objecting to this, Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herath argued that the petitioner had not come before court with clean hands. She alleged that despite having possession of the diplomatic passport, the petitioner had falsely claimed otherwise and had thereby attempted to mislead investigators. Quote,
My lords, former CID Deputy Inspector General Prasad Ranasinghe has provided a statement to the CID explaining how petitioner Suresh Salley allegedly obstructed investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks. Following the explosion in Saindhamaradu in 2019, there was considerable discussion regarding whether a woman named Sarah Jasmine had survived and fled to India. Suresh Salley repeatedly accused the CID during investigative review meetings of failing to properly investigate the matter. At those meetings, the petitioner maintained that Sarah Jasmine had died at the scene and repeatedly alleged that proper DNA examinations had not been carried out. The statement of the former Deputy Inspector General confirms this. The petitioner's position was that another DNA test should be conducted. According to the Deputy Inspector General's statement, he subsequently succeeded in having that carried out through the intervention of the President. This statement by the Deputy Inspector General is included in the B report submitted to the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court on the 11th of March 2026.
Unquote. Meanwhile, Attorney-at-Law Surendi Pereira, appearing for Reverend Father Rohan Silva, who has been named as a respondent in Salley's writ petition, told court that the Jayaki Dialvis Commission report had never been officially published. Quote,
My lords, the petitioner has submitted what he claims is the Jayaki Dialvis Commission report together with this case. However, that report has never been officially published. Former Minister Uday Gamanpilla presented at a media briefing. What has been submitted to court is merely a photocopy of that committee report. It has been produced in a manner contrary to the rules governing proceedings before the Court of Appeal.
The President of the Court of Appeal directed counsel for the petitioner to clarify the matter at the next hearing. The petition is scheduled to be taken up again tomorrow.
All judges serving in Sri Lanka's courts are set to receive a 2-year extension to their retirement age following cabinet approval granted this evening.
Under the proposal, a constitutional amendment bill will be drafted to increase the retirement age of Supreme Court and Court of Appeal judges by 2 years. Cabinet approval has also been granted to amend the Judicial Act in order to extend the retirement age of judges serving in all other courts. Accordingly, Cabinet has approved referring the relevant draft legislation to the legal draftsman for preparation, following which it will be forwarded to the Attorney General for legal clearance.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's indication during a recent meeting with opposition party leaders materialized today as a convention organized by the Shasana Rakshaka Sangha Sabha was held in Colombo.
Now, the coordinating panel of the Shasana Rakshaka Sangha Sabha comprises Venerable Ulapane Sumangala Thera, Venerable Akmi Mane Daratana Thera, and Venerable Galagodatte Nyanasara Thera.
Speaking at a meeting of opposition political party leaders at the office of the opposition leader on the 23rd of July, Ranil Wickremesinghe stated that a Sangha convention would be held today focusing on issues including the proposal to extend the retirement age of judges.
Just as political parties are meeting here today, we must remember that there are other forces as well. The Mahasangha has called a major convention for Monday. Lawyers have been called for Wednesday. Therefore, we must begin here by reaching an understanding on how all of us will work together on this issue.
As indicated by Ranil Wickramasinghe, the convention was held today at the Sri Lanka Exhibition and Convention Centre in Colombo. The Presidium of the Shasana Rakshaka Sangha Sabha consists of Venerable Induragare Dhammaratana Thera, Venerable Aglakadisiri Sumana Thera, Venerable Madagoda Abhyatissa Thera, Venerable Kapagollave Anandakirti Thera, and Venerable Lagumdeniye Piyaratana Thera.
මේ දේශය දැන් ධර්මයේ ආලෝකයෙන් පිරී ඇත.
The convention, held under the theme Sukha Sanghasa Samagi, was broadcast live on the official Facebook pages of the United National Party and UNP Chairman Vajira Abewardena.
When we speak about a national issue or religious issue affecting this country, there are individuals on social media operating with the blessings of this government who have come forward to question our motives and attempt to discredit us. Throughout history, the Buddha Sasana and our nation have faced many such challenging periods. During those times, there were monks who sacrificed their lives and others who endured imprisonment in order to protect what they believed in. Therefore, the modern Buddhist monk also carries a historic responsibility to fulfill a social duty on behalf of the country. It is to fulfill that historic responsibility that we have gathered here today.
Venerable Galagoda Atte Jnanasara Thera presented the Sangha declaration at the convention.
රටත් සමයත් සුරකිමු සුඛා සංඝස සාමග්ගී යම් යම් ආගමික නායකයන් තැන් තැන්වලදීද
If we draw a connecting line through various statements made by certain religious leaders and political leaders in different places, there appears to be an underlying suggestion that either a constitutional amendment or a new constitution could be forthcoming. It may not necessarily be something as significant as some expect. After all, we already have a constitution that has been amended many times. Therefore, I am not surprised if another constitutional amendment is introduced. What is important is that the chapter relating to Buddhism within the constitution is safeguarded in any such future constitutional change.
The proposal to extend the retirement age of judges came under further criticism today, with several President's Councils convening a media briefing to voice their opposition.
President's Councils Salia Piris, M.A. Sumandiran, Jeffrey Alagaratnam and Lal Vijay Nayaka, along with Attorney at Law Srinath Pereira and several others, participated in the media briefing.
If
the fundamental law of this country is amended in this manner, future governments over the coming decades may attempt to interfere with the independence of the judiciary in the same way. How would one such interference take place? A future president or parliament could decide that 67 is not enough. They may say the current judges are good judges, the current Chief Justice is a good Chief Justice, and therefore allow that Chief Justice to continue serving until the age of 75. Another group may then ask, why not extend it further to the age of 80? For the past 48 years, this particular provision relating to the independence of the judiciary has not been amended. Yet, this proposal has been brought forward without any public consultation or discussion. As far as we are aware, even the views of the judges themselves have not been sought on this matter. The government must first gazette the proposal. It must be then presented to Parliament. If it is tabled in Parliament, we will challenge it on the basis that it is inconsistent with Article 3 of the Constitution and contrary to the sovereignty of the people of this country. The Supreme Court will then have to determine whether it can be passed with a two-thirds majority alone, or whether it requires both two-thirds majority and approval at a referendum. If the Supreme Court rules that the referendum is required, then it must be submitted to a referendum. If the court determines that that a 2/3 majority alone is sufficient, then this government, which has such a majority, may pass it. However, this government should not forget that the administration of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa also had the numbers required to remove Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranaike. Yet, from the day Shirani Bandaranaike was removed, that became the first sign of the decline of President Mahinda Rajapaksa's government.
We are not against the government, we are not against the judges. We are here on a matter of law, principle, a very fundamental principle, the courts. This constitution belongs to the people. It does not belong to Parliament or the President or the courts. This constitution says it is the democratic republic constitution. Republic is the people. It is a constitution given by the people, making Parliament, the President and the court, they are the people's agents. What we have to realize, once we elect the President or the Parliament, whether they consult the people and do what people want, this government says it is the people's government. Do they ask the people what they want? Do they tell the people we are going to do this? Is that correct? And therefore, the court is the last place where anybody can go. Where anybody can go not only to have their personal cases against each other, even to bring their complaints, their family against the state, the government.
Now, if this was something that they thought was urgent, something that should be brought through an amendment, then why did they wait until now, until after some judges had retired and before the other judges retire or other judge retires? And why are they timing it now? That very clearly shows that this is aimed at individuals, and that is utterly wrong. That is totally wrong. That is why we say this is a barefaced interference with the independence of the judiciary. It's so plain to all of us, and I don't know why the government thinks that they can, fool the people in this way by saying life expectancy has increased and that's why we are doing it. Every single person in the country knows that that is not the truth. Everyone knows that. So this is a slippery slope, perhaps the first few slips of this government, when they start lying to the people barefacedly like this. So we, as responsible members of the bar, would like to warn the government, don't do this.
I am a member of the National Executive Council of the NPP as well as its steering committee and the executive committee. If that is the case, why am I opposing this proposal? As far as I know, and I would know, because I am part of those structures, neither the NPP nor the government has up to now taken a decision to introduce such a proposal. I do not know whether certain individuals may have discussed such an idea among themselves. I made my position clear. I was told to remain silent. I asked to remain silent about what? Later, I was told it was about the proposal to increase the retirement age of Supreme Court and Court of Appeal judges. I said that I do not agree with it. Subsequently, a meeting of the highest level body was convened. At that meeting, I said I only had one simple thing to say. I oppose it. I explained why. One of the most important principles in this country is judicial independence. A key pillar of that independence is ensuring that the tenure and conditions of service of judges, particularly those serving in the high courts, are not altered. If that pillar is weakened, the entire concept of judicial independence could collapse.
Meanwhile, NPP General Secretary Dr. Nihal Abhisinghe rejected the claims made by Lal Vijay Nayaka. He pointed out that Vijay Nayaka had merely expressed his personal opinion within the party regarding the retirement age of judges. The NPP General Secretary emphasized that at no stage had the party attempted to pressure or obstruct him from expressing those views. Dr. Abhisinghe stated that while the party respects the personal opinions of all individuals, it ultimately acts in accordance with its collective position.
However, some lawyers hold a different view on the matter. Several lawyers who expressed their opinions on the issue in Kandy today had this to say.
As far as I can see, there is no public opposition to the constitutional amendment seeking to extend the tenure of serving High Court judges by 2 years. A certain group of lawyers and politicians are opposing this move. In fact, many of those politicians are currently facing various allegations and court proceedings. Therefore, I do not wish to comment further on that aspect because matters are pending before the courts. Essentially, whether one is a judge or a lawyer, it is through experience that a person becomes truly accomplished. Therefore, I see it as a highly practical decision to retain experienced judges and allow them to continue serving, rather than requiring them to retire at a comparatively younger age. At present, only a section of lawyers are opposing this proposal, while many others have expressed their support. When we look at other countries, it becomes evident that neighboring India, as well as countries such as the United Kingdom and the United States, have higher retirement age for judges than Sri Lanka. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is among those opposing this proposal, is currently 79 years old. Professor G.L. Pires is 80 years old. If individuals of that age are considered capable of governing the country, then by comparison, 67 is certainly an age at which a person reaches a very high level of maturity and experience.
Experience is absolutely essential. Extending the retirement age of judges effectively increases their period of service, which can help accelerate the delivery of court judgments. There is a significant backlog of cases, and as a result, increasing judicial capacity can help reduce the number of pending cases before the courts. This can also help ease congestion with the judicial system. The new government is increasing the number of courts, expanding court infrastructure, and removing obstacles that hinder the hearing of cases. As more cases are heard, the demand for judges also increases. Therefore, I believe that extending the retirement age will provide substantial support to those efforts and greatly assist the functioning of the courts.
Opposition to the proposal to extend the retirement age of judges has sparked fresh controversy following remarks made in Parliament by National People's Power MP regarding the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. The statement made by NPP MP Asitha Niroshana in Parliament revealed details of what he alleged was a political discussion.
We need experienced judges. The fear surrounding the extension of their tenure comes from one issue alone, the possibility that justice may actually be delivered to the people through the judicial process. A small group, including the President of the Bar Association, has expressed opposition to this process. Therefore, what we want to say is that last Thursday, the President of the Bar Association, Rajiv Amarasuriya, held discussions with Sajith Premadasa and reached an agreement with him. As we understand it, during the upcoming Provincial Council elections, Sajith Premadasa has promised Rajiv Amarasuriya the position of Chief Ministerial Candidate for the Western Provincial Council in return for supporting this campaign. Deputy Speaker, that is the political deal that is taking place.
What exactly is the discussion referred to by MP Asitha Niroshana? Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa responded to the allegation while attending an event in Ratnapura.
At a time when there are attempts to influence the judiciary, whenever we as the Samagi Janabalavega speak out on these issues as the only alternative voice available to the country, lies, falsehoods and fabrications are being created. A false narrative is now being promoted among the public that we are opposing this process only because we secured the support of the Bar Association by offering its president a bribe in the form of a chief ministerial candidacy. I would also like to state that the Samagi Janabalavega is the only political force that can speak about an independent judiciary while standing firm on principle. We did not take part in removing Shirani Bandaranaike from office as Chief Justice, nor did we accuse judges of being summoned before parliamentary select committees and pressured simply because they delivered decisions that were deemed correct by the courts.
However, Sajith Premadasa convened a meeting of opposition political parties at the office of the leader of the opposition in Colombo on the 23rd of July to discuss matters relating to the judiciary, just days after a written request made by MP Namal Rajapaksa. Representatives and leaders of political parties that played a leading role in the removal of former Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranaike were among those welcomed by Sajith Premadasa to participate in the discussion. Former Former Minister Udaya Gammanpilla criticised MP Asitha Niroshan's statement regarding opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and the president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Gammanpilla also stated that he expects lawyers across the country, regardless of political affiliation, to participate in the meeting which the Bar Association is scheduled to hold tomorrow.
The Bar Association is a professional body that has fought throughout history for the independence of the judiciary, regardless of which party held power. It was due to a complete lack of understanding of the Bar Association's long history that MP Asitha Niroshan made such a statement and acted in a manner that insulted both the Bar Association and its president. We hope that in order to express opposition to this statement, all lawyers in this country, putting aside party differences, will participate in the Bar Association's General Assembly meeting scheduled for the 29th of July.
This is the response from the People's Tomorrow organization.
The people of this country are witnessing a coming together of claims to be the opposition, a collection of fragmented political groups. We see this gathering much like a group coming together for their own purposes rather than for any greater cause. Why do we say that? There have been several crucial moments in this country when the people expected the opposition to unite. During the period of the Aragalaya, when the country's economy collapsed, we did not see these opposition groups coming together to find solutions for the people. Furthermore, during the years when the country was facing a war, we did not see the opposition uniting to address what was then a common national challenge and a common enemy. But now we see these groups gathering together in one place. At a time when the country is not facing a severe economic crisis or a similar national emergency, the opposition has chosen to unite over the issue of extending the tenure of judges. Through this issue, they appear to be attempting to resolve their own problems. What are those problems? The opposition is facing legal proceedings over various allegations. Day by day, individuals are either being remanded, convicted, or imprisoned. Because of these developments, the opposition has now come together to address its own concerns. However, we have not seen this opposition unite on behalf of the people's issues or the needs of the public. An opposition that failed to stand up for the people is now attempting to take advantage of this situation. There is a possibility that some among them may face punishment before the law. That is why the opposition is trying to stir public sentiment and use this issue relating to the judiciary to advance its political agenda. We see figures such as Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sajith Premadasa and Nama Rajapaksa who have criticized one another on public platforms and claimed they would never join hands with those accused of corruption or wrongdoing, now coming together in an effort to pursue their political objectives. Today we are seeing individuals who were accused during the Aragalaya period of attacking protesters, suppressing the public and imprisoning people, now claiming to stand together for the people. Therefore, we once again emphasize to the opposition that when something positive is taking place in this country, it should not be turned into a political issue or used as part of a political game for partisan advantage. Such actions should come to an immediate end.
5 suspects, including the son of former State Minister Shant Bandara, who were arrested in connection with the alleged robbery of 20 million rupees from a Chinese national, were today released on bail by Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena. The magistrate ordered their release after imposing 2 personal bails of 20 million rupees each on every suspect. The suspects have also been subjected to a foreign travel ban.
Investigating officers informed court today that further inquiries are being carried out into the suspects' telephone records, bank transactions and cryptocurrency accounts to determine whether they had engaged in similar transactions in the past. Investigators also informed court that efforts are underway to locate another suspect connected to the incident, as well as the vehicle allegedly used in carrying out the robbery. Officers of the Central Crimes Investigation Bureau arrested the suspects in connection with the alleged theft of 20 million rupees belonging to a Chinese national. Following their arrest, the suspects were detained for 24 hours and questioned before being remanded until today. The suspects accused in connection with the incident are Anudar Janadith Samrakon Bandara, a son of former State Minister Shanta Bandara, Ajit Priyantha, Dushant Shyamal, Pramil Kusal Gunadasa and a Chinese national identified as Wan Quinn. Meanwhile, investigations have revealed that the Chinese national who claimed ownership of the 20 million rupees has since left the country. The revelation emerged during investigations being conducted by the Colombo Central Crimes Division into the incident. Police stated that steps had also been taken to launch a separate investigation into how the Chinese national obtained the money in question.
Under the theme, A Culture of Integrity, A Clean Sri Lanka, National Integrity Week commenced today under the patronage of Presidential Secretary Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumar Naika. The program was launched at the Presidential Secretariat and will continue until the 31st of July.
National Integrity Week's primary objective is to enhance the quality, efficiency and transparency of the public service while building an exemplary administrative structure free from corruption. The initiative seeks to establish an ethical, transparent and accountable public service driven by self-discipline and guided by conscience. The National Integrity Pledge was administered today, while the Code of Ethics was also officially launched.
Our approach is clearly focused on strengthening the sense of integrity that already exists within our public officials. That is what we must understand. Every individual possesses a certain degree of integrity, although the level may differ from person to person. Therefore, our objective is to nurture and strengthen that integrity by encouraging public officials to act according to their conscience, remain committed to their responsibilities, and have courage to do what they know is right. Our goal is to enhance the integrity of public servants. It is not based on the belief that public officials lack integrity and therefore need to be reformed. We have never approached this initiative with such a view. If we are to promote integrity throughout society, responsibility does not rest solely with the public sector. The private sector and the public at large must also embrace integrity. People must respect the law, and every citizen should strive to be law-abiding and responsible.
A separate oath-taking ceremony to mark on National Integrity Day was also held today at the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government. Similar oath-taking ceremonies were conducted at government institutions across the island. In parallel with the National Integrity Week, 25 integrity walks have been organized for tomorrow, centered around district secretariats across the country. Activities planned for the following day will focus on promoting spiritual, ethical, cultural and social integrity. On the 30th of July, programs will be dedicated to enhancing operational infrastructure, service delivery and workplace integrity, while 31st of July will focus on environmental responsibility, resource management, rural development and community empowerment as part of the wider integrity initiative. Numerous religious observances were held today to mark the 5th death anniversary of the late R. Raj Mahendran, former chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group.
An almsgiving ceremony in memory of the late former chairman R. Raj Mahendran was held this morning at the MTV MBC head office premises on Braybrook Place in Colombo. The Mahasangha arrived at the MTV MBC head office premises from the Ganga Ramaya temple.
When someone is climbing a ladder, we must learn not only to place the ladder but also to hold it steady so that they can reach greater heights. Raj Mahendran was that kind of person. He was not someone who simply placed the ladder and walked away. He stood there holding it firmly until others reached the top. How many people came through this institution and went on to become individuals who made meaningful contributions to this country and to the world. Building character is not easy, yet he dedicated himself to nurturing people, shaping their character and bringing them forward.
An almsgiving was offered to the Mahasangha led by the chief incumbent of the Gangarama Temple, Colombo, Venerable Kirinde Assajithera. A blood donation campaign was also organized this morning at the Department Broadcasting Center in memory of the late former chairman.
The globally acclaimed quiz show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, presented to Sri Lankan audiences as Sirasa Lakshapati on Sirasa TV, returns for its 12th season with a fresh new format, premiering on the 1st of August. The much anticipated launch of the new season took place recently at Stein Studios in Ratmalana, marking the return of one of the country's most popular television franchise shows.
From the world all the way to Sri Lanka, the United Kingdom, Jeremy Clarkson, the United States of America, Jimmy Kimmel, India, Amitabh Bachchan, the globally acclaimed quiz show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, presented to Sri Lankan audiences on Sirasa TV as Sirasa Lakshapati, is set to begin with a new host this season. The renowned author and media personality Upul Shanta Sanaskala.
Ayubowan, Ayusha Bohoveva, Desavasi, Lokavasi, Sri Lankakin Venuin, Asrimat Sri Lankakinta, Sirasa Lakshapati.
Sri Lanka's first licensed television game show is none other than Sirasa Lakshapati, broadcast on Sirasa TV. By dialing 7788, you too can now join the Sirasa Lakshapati journey. For the remarkable people of Sri Lanka, Sirasa Lakshapati returns every weekend at 7:30 p.m. on Sirasa TV starting the 1st of August. Dial 7788 today. Your chance to become the next Lakshapati could be just one call away.
ප්‍රශ්නත් එක්ක වැටෙන්න එපා. උත්තරයක් එක්ක නැගිටින්න. සිරස ලක්ෂපති.
The historic Kingdom of Kotte is stepping into a new era of sustainable tourism. The Kotte Green Tourism Network celebrated its first anniversary, highlighting efforts to preserve the city's heritage and natural treasures. The Kotte Green Tourism Network marked its first anniversary, celebrating a year of efforts to promote Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte as a destination of sustainable, cultural and heritage tourism. Established in July 2025, the network brings together government institutions, tourism professionals, academics, environmentalists, artists, private sector representatives and local communities with the aim of preserving the historic and natural heritage of the Kingdom of Kotte.
The main objective of this is to position Kotte as a tourist destination. That is because Kotte is an area with immense historical value, wonderful wetlands and various tourist attractions. However, it has not yet become a go-to spot for day trips or short excursions for tourists visiting the Colombo area. Therefore, this is an ongoing effort by this volunteer group, our Western Province Tourism Promotion Bureau, along with all state and private institutions, to build the necessary foundation and background for it.
Over the past year, the initiative has introduced a range of programs highlighting Kotte's history, wetlands, biodiversity, religious heritage, traditional crafts and local experiences. The first anniversary celebrations featured the Kingdom of Kotte Heritage Tuk-Tuk Trail and the Ramayana Trail bicycle finale by Team Tour de Kotte, followed by the gala event, A Night in the Kingdom of Kotte. The celebrations were attended by Deputy Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development, Chaturanga Singha, along with tourism stakeholders, community leaders and supporters. The anniversary program also included a fundraising initiative in support of the Raniviru Sevana Rehabilitation Centre. MTV MBC were the official media partners of the event. The Stop Dengue National Dengue Eradication Program, which traversed the length and breadth of the Western Province, marked its conclusion today.
Stop Dengue, the National Dengue Eradication Program, which was carried out continuously for 15 days within the Western Province, concluded today. Focusing on the Colombo, Kalutara and Gampaha districts, this program was organized by the Maharaja Media Network, spearheaded by Newsfirst, together with the Ministry of Health and Mass Media. Just like in the past few days, 3 teams were engaged in this operation today as well. The Colombo district team visited the Halstorf area today. One team from the Stop Dengue National Dengue Eradication Program visited the Katunayaka area in the Gampaha district today. Meanwhile, the Kalutara district team visited the Kalutara town and its surrounding areas today.
Public health inspectors, medical health officers, Sri Lankan Air Force, as well as officials from the National Institute of Health Sciences as well as the Municipal Council of Kalutara are working collaboratively to find and eradicate these mosquito breeding sites. The residents of this area were also informed on how to maintain a clean environment and also to prevent and safeguard that Sri Lanka will be free from dengue.
Iran says it was still in control of the Strait of Hormuz and not seeking to resume peace talks with the United States after President Donald Trump halted a two-week bombing campaign that his top brass told him had run its course.
Following 13 successive nights of intensifying bombing that provoked Tehran to fire on US bases in response, Trump halted the campaign over the weekend. Iran said it would suspend its own attacks for as long as the US pause endures. Jama Ratnaika brings us more details. Jama?
Thank you, Anilka and Stevin, and a very good evening to everyone joining us on Primetime News. Firstly, on international news tonight, we take you to matters in West Asia. The ending of the US bombing campaign sent oil prices tumbling in the hope that disrupted global supply could resume flowing. Brent crude, which had briefly ticked about $100 a barrel last week for the first time since May, plunged by more than 8% mid-morning earlier today to just under $89. But in signs today that Tehran may already be testing the effective new ceasefire, Jordan reported shooting down 2 drones, and Iraqi security sources said drones had struck a base in Iranian Kurdish opposition fighters in northern Iraq. There were no reports of casualties in either incident.
According to a U.S. official and several U.S. media reports, Trump's decision to suspend the campaign reflected advice from his military that the bombing aimed at breaking Iran's grip on the strait had reached the limits of what it could achieve. The U.S. official told foreign media that military commanders had advised the president that they were running out of targets. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, had expressed concern over the depletion of air defense munitions. The official said Trump's decision to suspend the campaign reflected advice from his military that the bombing aimed at breaking Iran's grip on the strait had reached the limits of what it could achieve. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, said on Sunday Trump had paused the campaign to allow room for negotiations. Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio and other U.S. officials have described Iran as begging for a deal. But the spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry, Ismail Baghei, said in a televised press conference today that Iran had not asked to resume peace talks with the United States. Messages were still being passed between the sides through mediators, and Iran had not forsaken diplomacy. But Baghei said reports about Iran requesting negotiations with the US are fabricated. Tehran also indicated it was still in control of the world's most important waterway for energy markets.
Meanwhile, a South Korean court sentenced former President Yoon Suk Yeol to 18 months in prison, suspended for 3 years, after finding him guilty of violating the election law by making false statements during his 2022 presidential campaign. The sentence, if upheld through appeals, could force Yoon's People Power Party to return 39.7 billion won in election expenses reimbursed by the National Election Commission following his presidential election victory.
The Seoul Central District Court found Yoon made false statements during the 2022 presidential campaign when he denied introducing a lawyer to a former tax official and claimed he and his wife, former First Lady Kim Kyun-hee, had not met Shaman Jong Song-bae. Both relationships had come under scrutiny during the election campaign. The court accepted prosecutors' arguments that Yoon had introduced a lawyer to the former official and maintained a long-standing relationship with Jong after first meeting him through Kim. In its ruling, the court said, quote-unquote, when a candidate personally announces false information at public events with a large impact, such as debates and interviews, the effect on voters' decision-making is very significant. Prosecutors had sought a 2-year prison term, arguing Yoon's remarks helped ease scrutiny of the allegations during the presidential race. In a statement, his legal counsel said Yoon, who had denied any wrongdoing, plans to appeal the verdict.
Gumbo's biggest beach party return. MMR 26 Together. Organized by Maristella College, All Boys Association. August 1st at Jetwing Blue. Headlining Beyond Again, the world's #1 ABBA show. Plus the Warehouse Project, C+, and more till midnight.
Journey into the past with 19th century views of Ceylon, a rare exhibition featuring historic artworks by renowned British artists. Presented by the George Keat Foundation in partnership with the British High Commission Colombo. Experience this remarkable collection at Westminster House on the 31st of July and 1st of August. Register today at georgekeatfoundation.com.
Now on to your sports news. The Commonwealth Games are in full swing, and for Sri Lanka, all eyes are on what could be the country's first medal-winning performance of the competition.
Now for more on that and the latest action involving the Sri Lankan contingent, here's Krishan Devasagayam. Krishan.
Thank you, Stevin and Onelka. Well, Sri Lanka's strongest early medal hopes at the Commonwealth Games rests on the shoulders of Roshan Ranatunga, who is set to compete in the men's 110-meter hurdles final. Now, can Roshan deliver a podium finish and bring home Sri Lanka's first medal of the Games? The answer to that will unfold in the early hours of tomorrow as the nation's athletic fans eagerly await one of the most anticipated events of the competition. Now, meanwhile, Sri Lanka's campaign gathered further momentum today with Chamu Dyodasinghe and Dinet Indurua also stepping onto the international stage to represent the country.
Sri Lanka's Roshan Ranatunga has qualified for the final of the men's 110-meter hurdles event at the 2026 Commonwealth Games. He secured his place in the final after finishing 4th in his qualifying heat. Roshan Ranatunga completed the preliminary round race in a time of 14.11 seconds. The final, featuring Roshan Ranatunga, is scheduled to take place tomorrow at 2:15 a.m. Sri Lankan time. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's Chamod Yodasinghe and Dinet Indura competed today in the preliminary heats of the men's 100-meter event at the Games. Competing in the third heat of the preliminary round, Dinet Indura finished third with an impressive time of 10.33 seconds. Notably, it was the fastest time he has recorded in the event. Chamod Yodasinghe competed in the 8th heat of the preliminary round. He secured 3rd place in his race after clocking 10.45 seconds. However, the performances produced by both Chamod Yodasinghe and Dinet Indura were not sufficient to secure qualification for the semi-finals. The games are currently being held in Glasgow, Scotland.
And from the Commonwealth Games, we now look at some news from the world of cricket here at home. President Anurukumara Dissanayake met SLC's Transformation Committee today to discuss the challenges faced in developing cricket in Sri Lanka.
President Anurukumara Dissanayake held a meeting with the Sri Lanka Cricket Transformation Committee at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon. Discussions focused on the issues and challenges faced in developing cricket in Sri Lanka. The President's media division reported that the President also considered the support and contribution that could be provided by the government towards the continued progress and advancement of cricket in the country.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.